Alright, hey everyone. So for this video, I'm going to go into how to set up the Helios project and how to get a world working and upload it onto the Steam Workshop. Right here you can see an example of that. This is a world that I'm currently working on right now, and here are a couple of avatars that I currently have uploaded as well in Helios and everything like that. So I'm going to show you how to get this kind of a thing set up on a very base level, and let's begin. So the first thing you need to do is you need to download it, right? Now keep in mind this isn't available to everybody. You have to have a copy of the project at the moment, and you have to have a key for the project, and you have to be on the Helios Discord. On the Helios Discord, you'll notice that there's a creation system, download and update section right here, right? So the first thing you want to do is you want to download this, which is the project download, and then you have a patch. You want to download this after that. You have to have both of these files. So that's two files you have to download, and they're just going to be sitting there. All right. Now I'm going to go into more detail. I'm going to do this right in front of you, but there are three folders that have to be um, deleted after you unpack the first of the two files. Okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and it's the mannequin, binaries, and plugins. So I'm just going to do this right in front of you though, so you don't have to worry about just understanding that image. I noticed that the image can be a little bit confusing and stuff like that. Now, the first thing of course you're going to need is on your Unreal folder. You're going to want to go into content, and you'll have to make a folder here in content. I call it just Helios tutorial. I recommend that you call it Helios. You don't want to have any underscores in the name. You want to keep it as simple as possible. My current project right now is called Helios template. This is Helios tutorial. Okay, so in Helios tutorial, this is a blank folder, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to unpack this, right? And I'm just going to drag that all in, right? So there you go. Okay. And now I got to delete those three folders that we mentioned before. So binaries, plugins, delete these two. And then you go to content, avatars, mannequin. You delete that, right? And then you go back to the Helios tutorial folder, and you grab this. Whoops. And you grab this, and then you just overwrite everything that's in there. It'll ask you to overwrite. Replace the files in destination. Boom. All right. So not too bad. Not a bad start, right? We have a blank Helios project to work with. So the next thing that we need to learn, or go over, is how to get something, get something like actually running in the engine, like upload it to the Steam Workshop so that you can play it in Helios, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by just running the project. You just double click that. Now keep in mind, this can sometimes take a while. It's pretty common. Give it a good 30 seconds. Sometimes that window that right there, that won't be, that might take a little while to like show up. So it really depends. Sometimes it'll have to like figure out where everything is and do all this stuff. And sometimes it'll have to like compile shaders. Just let it do its thing when it's first starting off. Give it 5 minutes if you have to. Some people it'll be really fast. Some people it'll be really slow. That's pretty normal. It's just Unreal 4 thing. All right. And if it says new plugins are available, you can go ahead and just dismiss that. Underneath my head, you can see there. And the next thing I always do is show or hide the source panel. Boom. I want to show that so that I can show all my folders and everything like that, right? Okay. Now, you'll notice that the base project, the base level that you start off in when you first start the project, actually has a bunch of example stuff that we can already work with. in my particular case, like I just want to, I just want something as simple as possible. So what I'm going to do is uh, I want to start a fresh level, right? And this is how that's going to work. I mean, we got a bunch of stuff here that are all just examples, but we want to have a completely different world. So I'm going to save current as, and I'm going to add a folder called levels. And inside of the folder levels, I'm going to add a folder called tutorial. And here I'm going to name the level tutorial map. Right? No spaces, nothing fancy, just that, right? All right. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and delete everything I don't want. Post processing volume. I mean, hey, you don't get rid of these walls and get rid of stuff. You don't need any of this shit, right? The only thing I really want is maybe the mirror, right? You can keep the sunlight if you want. Get rid of that desk. Get rid of the car. I'm just gonna go ahead and boil this down to the simplest possible thing that it can be for what we need, right? So I'm gonna just default this scale. Um, put the post processing volume at 0. Put this at 0. Put the mirror at 0. Right, and do this. Drag the mirror up so that it's not in the floor. Weighted thing, get rid of that. I'm just basically deleting every. Oh, wait, did I delete the wrong thing? All right, yeah. I just wanted to delete this floating text. Put this at 0. Drag it up a little bit. You basically just get a base level. Now, the reason why I'm using this instead of like, starting a fresh thing, because there's a bunch of options when you start a fresh map. Like if you go to new map, you might notice that there's like these other time of day and VR basic and stuff like that, or default. Um, it's really important that you understand that the root folder for your project has to include all of the files. So when you make your levels folder and then you put your map inside of that, you want to make sure that that is the root folder for all of the things that your level contains, right? So if you use any of these, you might run into an issue where those files are somewhere else, right? I don't think these files are actually even located in a folder that can be packaged properly. So you want to just keep it as simple as possible. Take the already existing template map, and we'll just work with that and delete anything that you don't need, and start from there, right? It's just safer because you don't want to take the chance that something is in the level that doesn't exist in in your root folder for your map. So I'm going to take the player spawn, I'm going to move it here so that he's a little bit off the ground, and I have of my VR player spawn. This is just the safest possible thing. We don't need a nav mesh. I got rid of that. Like, honestly, let's see. Out of all the things, I could probably delete atmospheric fog. Let's just go ahead and, well, maybe the atmospheric fog was kind of cool. So we have a floor 400 by 400. I have to go ahead and delete that. Directional light, floor static. I mean, if we really want to be particular, we can make sure that the floor static is lined up with the 0. Anyway, all right. So it's like perfectly in line. Get this like all lined up. Okay. Yeah, so we're just making something that's nice and clean, that has only the things that we care about sitting inside of it, and that's that, right? And of course, the one thing that's important is a mirror, because we know how virtual reality games actually work. All right. Simple base. I don't know what that is. I'm just gonna get rid of that. Skylight and VR player start. Okay, we're good. We're golden. We got our base level. We know for a fact everything that we currently have in the map right now is supported 100%. In the project folder and everything like that. So super important that we understand that what the base root folder means. So we have this set up. I'm going to click save. Now, we need to worry, we need a way to interface with the Steam Workshop. Make sure that Steam is open in the background. If it's not open in the background, it won't be able to communicate with the Steam Workshop. Make sure you're logged in, that everything's all set up, because Helios uses Steam as its base way for content, uploading, downloading, and all that stuff. Even friends lists and stuff like that are important, because that's how like you can friend or unfriend people, and all that kind of neat stuff goes on right there. So just keep that in mind. You have to make sure that Steam is working. Steam is running in my background right now, but if you don't have it work, if you don't have Steam open, then it won't work. It won't know how to interface with Steam, with the Steam Workshop, in order to upload. So now that we have this sitting in all of these proper folders right now, we're going to go into this folder here, Blueprints, which is clear. Yeah, it's clear that it's on the screen. And we go into Packaging, right? Now there's two things in this folder that we got to pay attention to. One of them is this pack and upload thingy. You drag that into the world, right? And I just put mine at 0, 0, 0, 0, because it doesn't matter where it is. It just needs to be in the world. And let's take a look at the settings on this thing real quick, just so that we can go over anything that's of importance. Now, all of these things are going to get updated automatically using a widget that I'm about to go into. But there is one thing that is relevant here for you to keep in mind when it comes to what you're going to be uploading. Um, Disable UI for testing. Now, there are a lot of circumstances where you want to just play your level in the editor, and you don't want to actually upload the level, but you don't want to delete this object either. You just want it to sit there, because it takes a little bit of energy to actually input all of these different things using the widget that I'm about to show you how to use. And you want to be able to test your map. So what you do is you can check this. If this is checked, it disables this object so that you can actually play it in the editor, and you don't have to worry about it. So you can get into VR and walk around and turn the mirror on and stare at it, and pretend you're hanging out with people like in VR chat. So with that said, we can I don't know why I'm making jokes. It's supposed to be a tutorial. Okay, so if you in the editor too, it's kind of funny. So to say if this is checked, then this object won't get in your way from being able to just play test in the editor. Okay, with that said though, what we're going to do now that we have the object placed and it's in its location where it's supposed to be, we're going to do this. We're going to go to this upload helper, right? So this is a widget. I didn't even know this was a thing. You can actually have a widget in the editor, and you right click on it and you go run editor utility widget. Okay, so what this is going to do is it's going to load this up, and it looks like it's for an avatar, but not a level, right? It probably should default to level, because there's probably going to be a lot more level creators than avatar creators, just saying. But with that in mind, right now it defaults to avatar. What you want to do is you want to click level, right? So now we're in the level thing, and this is a lot of empty space because there's nothing there. So levels seem to be simpler. Oh, believe me, they are actually right now. So with that said, you want to kind of, make sure you right click in this window and then spam the escape button a little bit so that you don't have anything selected. You don't want anything selected while you do this process. So what you do is you go select pack uploader, boom, right? Now that it's green, it knows what the pack uploader is, right? So now the widget knows what's going on there. But now you want to point it to the level as well. So you go to Maps, Levels, Tutorial, right? Now keep in mind, I just want to stress this again. This is very important. Everything that appears in this level, in the tutorial folder, needs to be, everything that appears in this world needs to be in the tutorial folder. You can have a dozen or so folders, but all materials, all static meshes, all special effects, all particles, all sounds, all of that stuff needs to be in the tutorial folder, okay? All right. If you don't do this step, it's going to break things. So, and this is why, and this is an example of how important that is. So you go and you select the level, and then you select the actual tutorial level. And you see how it says tutorial map? That's our level right there. So now it knows the pack uploader, and now it also knows the level, right? And what we're going to do here is we're going to select the level content root. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to select this, and you want to go select level content root, right? Boom. That is your core root folder for your entire project right there. Okay? So with that said, what you want to do now is you want to click update. Now what update does is it grabs all of this information and puts it in this object, which means that it modified the level file, which means that you also have to click save all. If you don't click save all, the object in the world won't get saved, and all of this stuff that was just done to that object, all that time and energy we did to click those 4 things, will be gone forever. All right. It's also kind of weird and might be confusing to some people, but when you do save all, it resets this. Don't worry about that. It didn't do anything bad. Just close it. So let's take a look at the pack uploader now. So the first thing to take a look at with the pack uploader is that it did is uploading map checked. Means that it now knows that it's a map and not an avatar, right? And it goes the content cook directory, right? This is the base folder from which all of the stuff that we're going to be doing that needs to get cooked is located, right? And game maps levels tutorial. This is the name of the level itself, right? And this is the name of the level package name, right? Okay, so this object is now fully set up for us to be able to actually upload it to the Steam Workshop. So what are the steps that we need to do for that? So what we do now is you go to okay, now this is important too, because if you run it the wrong way, it'll kind of mess it up and it won't work correctly. So what you need to do is you need to carefully, instead of clicking play, don't just click play. You have to click this down arrow, which opens this up right here, and then you go to standalone game, right? Okay. So you click on standalone game. This can sometimes take a minute. It depends on the project, depends on your computer, depends on whatever's going on, right? But basically, it's running the game as a standalone thing, right? Now, you notice I already have a tutorial level kind of sitting there right now, right? I can go ahead and I just click on this. In your case, actually, let me be safe about this and just spend a moment. Yeah, I'll just create a fresh one because I already uploaded one. I did a couple of takes on making this video correctly and make sure that there was everything was working fine. It can be a little bit fidgety, so this is like my third take on this. I already did upload one project before, so this will be normally a list of all of the projects that you already currently have right now. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to create a new item. And in my case, I have my avatars and my world stuff that I already did. In your case, it's just going to be blank. And you go create new level. Now, to run the cook is going to cook. It prepares everything for the engine to be able to make a pack file. But you also need a folder in order for you to export your pack file. Okay, so your pack file folder actually needs to be, it can be anywhere on your computer. It doesn't really matter where, it needs a place in order to actually place this pack file. So what I do with my pack file actually is I place it in on my E drive, and the root of my E drive, I just have Helios pack file. Now this folder needs to be empty. If there's anything in this folder, it won't work. It has to have an empty folder. So you go in and you just make a folder somewhere on your computer that has a really short name, somewhere like you could be on your C drive, your D drive, doesn't matter. It just has to be an empty folder for you to upload to, right? So let's take a look at here. Yeah, as we can confirm right now, there's no pack file. There's nothing in this folder. It's on my E drive. All right. And that's that. So now we're going to run the cook. I mean, we could have ran the cook earlier. But basically what this is doing now is it's preparing all of the files that are located in the root folder for your level. So tutorial level being the root folder, it's going through and just packaging, or cooking those things up so that they can be easily put into a pack file. All right, so it ran through all that and it went really quickly. Sometimes that process can take a while. For example, on my Paragon characters are like 300 or 400 megabyte characters that that they have a lot of files, and that takes like 15 minutes for me to cook one of those folders. But in this particular case, we got something that's really simple, and all we're doing is we're just cooking this one particular thing. And again, I have to stress, everything that's in your map has to be in the folder that gets cooked. Everything. So you can't have any folders that are sitting off to the side where you're grabbing material or whatever. You have to have it all organized, even if it means taking up additional hard drive space by having duplicate stuff. Doesn't matter. You have to have it all in that one spot. Otherwise, it won't know how to put it into the pack file. Now I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to create this pack file. Runs the pack file creator that compresses and combines the content into an Unrail pack file. Boom. Okay. Now it went through and it packed it all up. Now it's all packed up. I'm going to take a look at the folder for the pack file. Now this kind of annoys me. Maybe it doesn't annoy you guys, but for me, it's just like the name of the pack file is a hash. There's a way to fix that, or you can just ignore it. This is a totally optional step. But usually, what I do is I click the next step. You see that right there? Oh, it actually back to upload, but down here it was like, well, we're still working on the UI. Trust me, guys. But anyway, you can go back. You go to asset cooking, and I go tutorial. This can have a space in it, so it'll end up having like an underscore, and you want to keep the visibility private, and you go boom like that, and then you delete this, right? And then you select the path again, and then you create the pack file a second time, and now it's nice and neatly named pack file that isn't some weird hash. Just for clarity's sake, just for sanity, I just prefer to do it this way. It's totally unnecessary. This is a completely optional step. You don't have to give a crap what the hell the pack file is actually named. I just prefer it to be named something. So anyway, we can go back to upload menu. Okay, so in this we have the location of the pack file, which I don't know why that's not already saved from the previous time we entered it. We have to re-enter it all the time. I'm actually thinking that when it comes to the time where we rework this UI, we should just make it all one thing and not actually, you know what I mean, like gray out the ones that aren't done yet or something like that and force you to go through it step by step. So that's down the road right now. Now, here's the last thing that's sort of semi-confusing, but it shouldn't be too bad, is that you need a preview image. You need an icon for your, or some kind of a preview image, and the preview image has to be under 1 megabyte in size, okay? Otherwise, if you try to upload it, it simply won't work, all right? So what I'm going to do right now is I have an image that's already pre-set up in a folder called icon image. And all it is this right here. All right. Just try to have an image, that represents your level. And let's see. I'm going to go into Helios tutorial, content, maps, levels, tutorial, map, and I'm going to go icon image. It doesn't necessarily have to be here. It can be anywhere. But just for, sanity's sake and memorization, I just go ahead and I just place it right there. Then I open up the editor again, and it'll say, my face is covering it up, but content file has been, would you like to import it? And I just go ahead and I say yes. So now I have an icon image that, that's for the level right there. It's just a neat way to do it. It's a neater way to do it. You don't have to, get rid of any of this. Then you can just go to that same folder. So it's a Helios tutorial, content, maps, levels, tutorial, icon image, In my case, it's a PNG, not a JPEG, and I just click on that, and boom, there we go. All right, it's under a megabyte. Make sure it's under a megabyte, or the upload will immediately fail. And then I go my tutorial level. All right, and there you go. Right. And this actually could be a description that has a lot of information. You can actually input quite a bit here if you really need to. You can have all the latest changes and and everything like that. Okay, so with that said, I'm gonna have a upload, and you click upload. Moment of truth. Let's see what it does. Come on, come on. Uploading, uploading. Is it gonna give me some weird error or something? All right, all right. Now this isn't a really big level. Um, But there it is. So this is my tutorial level, and I could probably use a different image because that's going to be confusing. But since it's a private thing, I guess the only thing that's kind of sucky about this is if you're not prepared and you have to have like a under 1 megabyte preview image, that can be kind of annoying. Otherwise, everything's up and it is now hidden, and you can subscribe to your own content so that you have access to it. And the next time you run Helios, you should be able to open up your worlds, and this world will now be available. And you can begin adding your own static meshes. Just like I said, I'll stress it again. I stress this like 5 times. If it's not all located, if not all the stuff is located in that one base folder, it will not find those files. So with that said, everything is golden. This is looking good. Hopefully I didn't mess the video up in some other way. And then you can rate it up yourself because give it that little extra. And I think we're golden. I actually don't know how to end this now. I've been working on trying to end this for a while now, and I don't know how to end it properly. It took 26 minutes to do it. So, but yep, there you go. The next, I should now be able to run. Oh yeah. There's actually one extra thing. In order to close this, it's gonna crash. Well, actually, I click this, and I get that, right? And then I click that. It's gonna crash. I don't know why. It just does. Just game dev things, hashtag. And from there, I should now have a world where I have a mirror sitting in front of me, and I can click this, and I can now test the world in the editor and everything like that. That's it. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and end this, and I'm going to upload it. Hopefully this is useful for everybody checking this out. I hope I explained everything. I will go into detail about more things. I'm also going to be releasing other videos as well. Well, anyway, let's not go into that. Hope this was a helpful tutorial.